So today I'm going to be blind with Alexandria Sarovich. She's a fantastic new sommelier at a Single Thread restaurant in Hillsburg. Single Thread is a 3 Michelin star restaurant that does fantastically well in not only the marriage of wine and food, but also they have an Asian touch to all the dishes that people coming back and back there. Alex is a fantastic sommelier. She just got to pass her advance this November, so she's literally still partying. I got to pass my exam in March, so it's going to be a fantastic time for both of us to get together and see if any of these new skills come to play.
Today I'm blind tasting with Angel. He's over at Compline, which is based in downtown Napa Valley, and Angel is absolutely crushing it there. Love him for what he's doing for the community here. He is mentoring and sharing his knowledge since he did pass his advanced earlier in March this year, and I'm super excited because this is the first time I'm blind tasting with him, but apparently he is really talented. So I'm excited to share these wines with him, and I'm excited to hear his perspective on them.
For the first wine, for a white wine, I decided to do a Gruner Berliner for 3 reasons. First of all, I love this wine. I'm sure that Alex is gonna love this wine, and anybody who's watching us right now and stuff most likely also enjoys this kind of wines. The thing about Gruner Berliner is that for a sommelier, it seems to be a really easy wine to get. Most of the times you put it in this little triangle of neutral grapes. You have a Barreño, you have this, you have Pinot Gris, and you start playing these mental games on what it can be. But what you don't think is what happens when Gruner Berliner necessarily now over ripens, but this is growing in Leubenberg. Leubenberg is one of the warmest sites in the whole Bacau. It's all the way in the east. Also Leo, who's a winemaker, likes to pick a little later. He believes that his vines are so old that they need it. So overall, this wine is not just gonna be your neutral, I can't get any aromas out of it wine. Man, this thing's got a lot going on. I know Alex is gonna love it. The thing is, this wine is a little bitter, it's a little oily, it's a little peachy, it's a little floral. So if you just latch on to one of those components, you might just take this one to a whole different place. I'm really excited for Alex to taste this. If she nails this wine, she's got some game. Wow, it's got a lot of texture. I'm telling you, if she just latches down to the texture, she's gonna think this is Viognier, mostly some Condrieu. Delicious. All right, let's do it. All right, guys, so for the red, 3 reasons I chose this wine. Once again, Alex is gonna love this wine. I chose an Austrian wine, a German wine. This is Meyer-Knackel Pinot Noir from DR. The thing about this wine is that it is not ridiculously classic, because typically, I feel like most of us expect Pinot Noir from places like United States, New Zealand. We also throw in there, of course, France. Pinot Noir has been in this part of the world for a long, long time. And the thing about Meyer-Knackel, DR is all the way in the north of Germany. It's almost one of the coldest places in there. But the river takes a perfectly west to east cut, and it just allows Meyer-Knackel to grow vines in perfect sites where there's definitely ripeness. I mean, right off the bat, this wine honestly sometimes could smell like a Sonoma Coast Pinot, but the color is just so light. Oh, nice. And it has such a, it's not that it's tart, it's not that it's ridiculously high acid, but for this nose being so generous, so warmth, the acidity of the wine just almost doesn't make sense. So to me, she has to call this Pinot Noir, the color, the tannin, the acidity. It's almost impossible for a grape to have those 3 things in this component without calling it Pinot. So once again, I think Alex is gonna call this Pinot, maybe some Sonoma, possibly in some Bourgogne Rouge. I mean, the wine has a little bit of oak. It's not shy of it, but at the same time, I'm telling you, the freshness and the acidity almost takes it away from what it could be. So once again, if Alex nails his wine, I'm giving her the whole bottle, but overall, I think she'll nail the grape for sure. Hey.
Hello.
Hey, nice to see you.
Good to see you too. How's
All
it
right,
going?
let's do this. You excited?
I am excited.
All righty, I am too.
A little nervous, not sure what wines you got for us today.
Easy wines. That's
Easy wines.
Easy wines. That's all I chose for you.
Hopefully not too easy.
Not too easy, right?
Fun. All right. So it looks like we've got a red and a white here.
All right, yep. Do your thing. You can be as geeky as you want, or you can just Damon, whatever you want to do. It's all you.
I'll start off with the white wine here. Looks like a nice, deep, there's a deeper yellow golden hue to this wine. Not so much room variation, definitely very bright. And the tearing is heavy on this wine for sure. It's clean and youthful. Stone fruit for sure. Getting some fresh white peaches, apricot, pineapple. There is definitely some citrus here, like Meyer lemon, a little bit candied on the citrus for sure, as well as some honey crisp apple, like fresh, sweet, real kind of crunchy apple characteristic, and florals. White flowers, honeysuckle, baby's breath. Yeah, so definitely those white flowers are there, but I wouldn't necessarily call this like an aromatic wine. I feel like there's some orange blossom, definitely some rocky mineral characteristics here. Not a ton of earthiness though. I'm not getting a lot of like mushrooms or forest floor. I think this is a very fresh wine.
It's pretty
clean. Yeah, it is. It smells good. It smells like a wine I'd like to drink.
Yeah.
There is some clove and cardamom. I think that this wine does see some oak, but it's not like a real driving factor of the wine. I'll confirm that though on the palate. A little bit of fenugreek and fennel. Right. Definitely dry. The alcohol is elevated. Definitely think this is coming from a warm, sunny region based off of that ripeness it has. Fruit is still ripe on the palate. I'm still getting this kind of honey crisp apple, or even like a golden delicious apple character. Some super tangy pineapple, like almost when the pineapple is so tangy, it like burns your tongue.
Yeah.
That's what I'm getting on this wine.
I like that.
There is definitely still that stone fruit, apricot characteristic, and the orange blossom, Meyer lemon happening. Outside of the alcohol, acid is high as well. Body is full. Finish is long. I can hear you salivating. I can tell that it's definitely still pretty high in acid. Not getting a ton of aromatics, but there is some.
It's like, it's generous. It's not like screaming, but it's generous in aromas.
It is. Perhaps this wine does see some oak, because I am getting like that fenugreek, fennel, and like cardamom characteristic to it. I definitely think this wine comes from the old world, from a warmer climate. I think that possible grape varieties include Chardonnay. Doesn't scream Chardonnay to me, because I think that there's a little bit of elevated aromatics for me to call Chardonnay. It could be Viognier. It's got the richness, but the acidity is just too high, I think, for Viognier. I know you love your Riesling, but I don't think, it does have high acidity. Maybe this is Riesling. I'm not used to seeing this color for Riesling, though. I feel like if it was Riesling, it would be clearer, especially given the fact that I think this is like 1 to 3 years old. I think I'm gonna go ahead and call this wine. I don't love my call on Chardonnay, but I'm gonna hang my hat on it. I'm gonna call this Chardonnay. I guess I'll call it California. I think maybe it's like Central Coast. I don't think that this is like Sonoma Coast or Russian River Valley, and I don't think it's Napa because it's got too high of acidity. I'm gonna go ahead and call this like Central Coast, Santa Maria Valley, Chardonnay from 2017 vintage. All right, so wine number 2 is a red wine. This is a paler hue. There's ruby, but there's also some garnet, and it is fading out to a lighter orange watery rim here. The tiering here is heavy as well. No real sediment no real sediment, and there's really no staining. It's very, very light hue. So I already kind of know that I'm in a few grape camp, either kind of Nebbiolo, Pinot Noir. I don't think this garnet would be happening for Gamay, so we'll see what happens. On the nose, I can already tell this wine is developing a little bit. Thank you for bringing older wine, that's fun. But we'll confirm that on the palate. The fruit is red and it's ripe and stewed, and there's even a little bit of dried. I'm getting like raspberries and strawberries that are like...
Sexy?
Sexy. You know, they're sexy, but they're kind of like old.
Yeah.
Like they're like up there in their years, so. Yeah, and some currants here, all red fruit primarily, and there's definitely a strong floral characteristic to this wine. I'm getting like roses, rose petals, and a heavy dose of oak on this wine. I'm getting vanilla, clove, cardamom.
I like the heavy dose.
Heavy dust?
Heavy dose.
Heavy dose, yeah.
I love that color.
There is some like tire, a little bit of tire. I don't think this wine particularly has Brettanomyces, but maybe it's not like necessarily the cleanest winemaking in style. And there is a kind of dirty herbaceousness happening here, like thyme, a little bit of rosemary, perhaps a bit of like balsamic or tar happening. A little bit of like charcoal or like fresh potting soil, like the fresh ones with the little styrofoam pieces in it. This wine is dry, has elevated acidity for sure. Alcohol's in check. I would say that it's moderate plus in nature. Really beautiful wine. There is definitely still those red fruits. They're a little bit more tart and restrained on the palate than it is on the nose. And whenever I get that, it usually brings me to the old world versus the new world. So still getting the red fruit, still getting some raspberries, some strawberries, and currants. It's a lot fresher on the palate than it was on the nose. I am getting a little bit of turned earth and still that kind of potting soil, still a little bit of balsamic. And those florals are really lovely. They're red in nature, cherry blossom, hibiscus.
Hibiscus. Nice
structure, moderate though. It's not like screaming to me, so it's not like taking me over to Nebbiolo per se. I think that yeah, they're just straight moderate in tannins here. Finish is long. There is a little bit of that kind of balsamic, vinegary characteristic, and I think that's coming from the age of the wine more than anything else. I'm gonna definitely take this one to the old world. I think that it's coming from a cooler climate. I'm gonna go ahead and call this from France. I think this is a Burgundy. I think this is from Burgundy. I think it is from the Côte de Nuit. I'm gonna call this a Premier Cru from Von Romanet 2008.
Nice. I could swear you're gonna call it Maurice Saint-Denis, which doesn't matter, but great call. All right, so let's go ahead and show you what you have. So the first wine...
First one was tricky, I'm not gonna lie. I'm like, what is this?
Well, I saw other episodes, and I didn't want to just bring you said an easy wine, but I brought tasty wines, hopefully. So the first wine is a wine that is tricky for two reasons. First of all, because typically we see this wine in a very different style, in a more inexpensive style, probably in a more reductive style, probably in a less give an effort style, because this guy is riper. So think of a neutral grape that when over ripens, could get a little floral, could get a little tropical, could get a little peachy, could have elevated acid. It is a tough wine.
I should have thrown in Sauvignon Blanc.
Oh, no, don't worry. So check it out. This is Alexandria Sarovich Gruner Schmaragd.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so check it out. Leo harvests later than anybody else, even than Kano. So, I mean, this is ripe, absolutely. There's no botrytis, but that floral character, that's literally, right? Gruner Berliner, when it ripens, those peachy tropical notes. Ridiculously tough wine to get, I think, because once again, we just think of the triangle, and then we start playing the triangle game. But then what happens when Gruner is overripened, when Pinot Gris gets overripened and extra botrytis? I mean, it's ridiculously tough wine, delicious. And I mean, honestly, he ages in botti, but you know, you said it, there's a little bit of spice coming from that. It's slightly oxidative. Tough wine.
I think I was getting spice from the botrytis, not
literally.
from the oak.
And yeah, it's a tough because you said it like, how is it so elevated in alcohol, but the acid, like all those things are like, wait, is this really coming from Austria? But you know, it's Leubenberg, the warmest site in the Wachau.
14%.
Awesome.
Nice. Alzinger's great.
It is.
Great pick.
So for your second wine, you did fantastic. I think that, I literally told these guys, I thought you were gonna call it that. And this is my trick to you because I feel like in this episode, everybody does a classic wine, maybe something tricky. So I mean, you nailed the grape, but this is a gentleman that went to Burgundy and came back and taught the art how to make Pinot Noir.
Oh, sweet.
I blind people on this wine, they call it Maurice and the Premier Cru, this and that. Great call, but I mean, may or not call, if it wasn't for him, the art would still be, you know, thermobinificating their wine, heating it up, throwing in there all sorts of additives. He makes also wine in South Africa, but overall, I brought you his lightest wine. He makes some GGs that I think you would have called Sonoma Coast Pinot. They just have even more dose of oak, more fruit, but you said like it's so light. I agree with you. When that fruit goes from ripe to tart on the palate, you gotta take a little whirl. Good job. And I think the fact, to me, color this light always throws me off in the age. I always call my Nebbiolos and my Sangios whole different ages because of the freaking color. He, of course, filters. I want is ridiculously light in color, but I think you got all those beautiful floral notes that you were talking about. To me, that's why I think Pinot's sexy, because of those inducing aromas. Good job, friend. Killer wine.
Thank you.
Cheers.
There you go.
So for the white, I brought a wine from Australia. I lived in Australia for a year, last year, and this is one of the wines that I was introduced while I was there, and I thought it'd be really cool to introduce it to Angel because Angel is kind of infamous for loving Riesling, and I too love Riesling, and Australia kind of has this stigma about it that the only Rieslings that they make are very dry and very high in acidity, kind of almost underripe in nature at times. I'm hoping that he'll call it something like Mosel or something from Germany, but I could see him doing a Austrian Riesling or even a Alsatian Riesling as well, because it is quite ripe and sunny in Australia. I've got a really nice, easy opener here. This is a stealth enclosure. Yeah, it does have a little bit of reduction and some of that flintiness for sure. Super high acidity. If he doesn't call Riesling on this, I will be disappointed. I'm not gonna lie. For the red, I picked another Southern Hemisphere wine. This one is coming from Central Otago. Felton Road is the winery. I absolutely adore this winery, first and foremost, but some characteristics of this Pinot Noir that I hope Angel pulls out are like the plummy hibiscus and a little bit of Campari, like bitter orange characteristic. So this one is their Calvert. The Calvert is a 4.5 or so acre plot of land on their property, showing great, like ripe red cherries, ripe plums. Should be fun. Go ahead and pour Angel some as well and see what happens.
All right, Alex, my turn?
It is your turn, Angel.
All right, I'm just going to go ahead and do my thing. I'm feeling pretty good. You know, a little sip of wine before this helps, but we'll see what I can do.
Okay.
All right, so I'm just gonna do my thing. So right off the bat, the color of this wine tells me absolutely nothing. It's not ridiculously colorful. I don't know what to expect. There's a teeny bit of copper in the outside though, but I gotta be careful with what I say because copper can only take you somewhere with one wine. Also, the wine is ridiculously clear. It's day bright. It's beautiful looking, and the viscosity doesn't seem crazy. Doesn't seem ridiculously viscous. You know, to be an asshole, I call it medium plus viscosity. So on the nose. Right off the bat, the wine is not ridiculously expressive. It's a little more medium in intensity of aromas. The fruit is pretty, like, slightly canned. It kind of smells like canned citrus. There's also some stone fruits, but the stone fruit here seems to be quite underripe, like a white peach. Once again, the fruit, it's dry, ripe for sure, but it's not screaming bruised. It's not overly ripe. It's not jammy. Okay, so other than non-fruit, like I said, there's some apples, some pears, some citrus, there's some stone fruits. For secondary, there's definitely some citrus blossoms here, apple blossoms, citrus blossoms. There's also some sage in the wine, like a really fresh green component. Even a little bit of tarragon. So yeah, for secondary, a little bit of floral, a little bit of herbal. So now winemaking, I feel like this guy is trying to make a reductive style of winemaking. The wine has sulfury aromas. It kind of smells like, I don't want to say eggshell. I'll make it more poetic, make it smell like...
Tell what it is, bro.
River rock, we can start saying... I'm going to start saying very strong words that can only lead me somewhere, but this one is showing a little bit of rubber. It's showing a little bit of petrol even. But I'll get more poetic. I'll call this diesel. I like diesel. This is diesel-y.
Diesel? Okay.
Right off the bat, it just smells like it's going to hurt my teeth. Literally, like my teeth hurt just from smelling that wine. Let's check it out. I'll be honest, it wasn't as austere as I thought it was gonna be. A little more ripe on the palate, but still fairly similar. You know, the apple and the stone fruits are dominating the wine. They're once again dry, slightly canned, definitely on the riper side. Nothing underripe here. For the secondary. Once again, a lot of the citrus blossoms, tons of that sage, almost like a lime leaf too. Like literally tastes like lime leaf. And once again, this one is definitely driven by reduction. I mean, the wine almost has a spritzy feeling. I can see a little bit of bubbles in there. And once again, I really get some of the diesel. The thing is, this is a really well done, if this is what I think it is, it's a really well done style that doesn't show too much rubber, too much of anything, but it is there. And once again, the wine is so light in color that this can be something that sees botrytis, oxidation, age. This is a ridiculously fresh looking wine. So, I mean, this is a wine of, it is high acid. Once again, it didn't kill my teeth like I thought it would be, but it's definitely high acid. It has some viscosity. I think this one is fully dry, although it's, you know, it's not bone dry, it's not ridiculously high acid, but it's still up there.
Any sweetness?
I think it's dry, but I do feel like a little bit of iris coated in my mouth. So, I mean, right off the bat, I think you're being more than generous by giving me a Riesling here. I mean, just the fact that the fruit profile fits it, the acid fits it, the secondary, the winemaking technique. But now I'm assessing the wine. It finished a little boozy. So, I mean, I'm going back and forth between this can be a Rheingau style or it can be Australian style. The Rheingau makes dry wines, wines that show a little bit of that petrol, but they're a lot more composed. And then over here in Australia, I have loud gas, loud lime leaf, just a little more obnoxious for winemaking. So I'm going back and forth. Once again, I think there's a little bit of a rest, like, you know, maybe you're trying to have me pick on it, but you know, this wine is way too generous to want to call it Australia. It is very reductive though. So, all right, we'll go ahead and make a call. I think this one is coming, yeah, I think this one is,
It's not an easy one.
it could be a ridiculously good quality stuff. Nothing against Australian Rieslings, but it's just so composed. Yeah, I'm gonna take it to Australia, fuck it. So I think this is a wine from Australia. I think this is a Riesling. I think this is from Clare Valley. Really nice, pungent yellow flowers. and it finishes boozy. I don't recall the last time I had a Rheingau Riesling that was this boozy. So yeah, I'm gonna call it 16 vintage Clare Valley Riesling. Yeah, I like that call. That's so good. So we're gonna go to wine number 2. This is a red wine, medium plus concentration and color, not Pinot Light, not also ridiculously cab Shiraz color. Ruby. It's making me go different directions. Not too much of a staining of the glass, which is quite unique. Let's check it out. So I see that you are also very generous with the oak on this wine. So right off the bat, this wine smells like, now this is what I call ripe, a little bruised, even slightly jammy. The fruit here is red dominant, but underneath there's there's definitely some black cherry, big cherry. So yeah, red fruit, a little black underneath. For secondary, this is florals too. I mean, you're talking about lavender here. That wine also has a ridiculously pretty tree bark aroma. Literally, like it smells like fresh tree bark. And it even has a little bit of tarragon as well. So floral, slightly herbal. There's also some black tea aromas here, which I'm also careful when I use words like black tea, because black tea can only take me to one grape. But although black tea shows oxidation, so we'll see. So right off the bat, I'm gonna tell you the wine is beautiful. Like it smells sexy. Thanks for bringing it. I'm definitely gonna ingest it. And the color, you know, it's a little concentrated in color. So it's starting to make me wanna deviate away from the old world. Not the color can tell you that all the time, but let's see. Like I said, for winemaking, there's definitely some new oak in here, some really nice, expensive oak too. That's tasty. So on the palate, it's a lot more dark fruited, a lot more of the big cherry. Still super floral, lavender, tree bark, tarragon, black tea. Beautiful oak, really well integrated. The thing is, this wine finishes with fruit. It's not finishing with black tea and slightly like tart on the fruit. No, the fruit's warm, it's ripe, it's generous, it's delicious. This is coming from a New World place. This is coming from a place that wants to recreate Burgundy, but obviously because of the sunshine of the New World, it's not nailing it. I think this is definitely a Pinot Noir. It's got a really pinpoint where it's coming from. So overall, this is a really well-done style of wine. I know they're trying their hardest to taste like Burgundy.
What makes you say that?
They're almost there. I mean, the aromatics are so beautiful. The oak is well integrated. Like the Pinot is not overly, it's not that sappy cherry Pinot. Really elegant style of wine. I'm just trying to go back and forth in between. This could be a style from New Zealand or a style from Oregon. I know that Oregon likes to be a little more given with the Pinots. I know that New Zealand is a little more tart, a little more herbal. This could be Fulton Road, though. I know they make some rich salsa wine. But I don't know, this kind of smells like home. Yeah, I think it smells like home. Fuck it. So, you know, for a call,
It's like home.
I think this is gonna be I think it's a Pinot Noir. I think this is coming from here in the United States. I think it's a little, not that Oregon doesn't make ripe wines, but I mean, here our Cali Pinots are a whole different level. It is boozy though, but I'm still gonna stick with my call. I think this is a Pinot Noir from Oregon. If I can get all fancy, I'll call it Yamhill Carn or some shit. But overall, Pinot Noir, 16 vintage. The 16 vintage was warm, ripe, and given. So yeah, I think, first of all, thanks for the wine. It is delicious, for sure. I'm gonna go ahead and call it Pinot Noir, Oregon, 16 vintage, Yamhill Carn. I'll stick to my calls.
Okay, so for the white, it is a Riesling from Australia.
Nice.
So well done.
Nice.
This bottling is coming from Victoria, though, so not South Australia. Wanted to trip you up a little bit. Mac Forbes does a Riesling that labels his RS levels, so RS8 on here. So it's actually his lower sweet, very just slightly off dry in nature.
It just coats your mouth a little.
Exactly.
That's why I wanted to call it Rheingau. Just a teeny
Not gonna
of
lie, I
RS.
was trying to trip you up because I wanted that sweetness.
No, that's great,
Clare
right? Just a
Valley is
little bit of
so
RS,
known
yeah.
for
Just a
having
little bit of RS.
bone dry Rieslings, whereas this one does have a little bit of that richness.
Yeah.
2018 is the vintage here, so you saw those little bubbles in your glass, and Definitely because of the recent bottling that this
pigment,
occurred. Yep, but yeah, super kind of flinty, sulfuric in nature.
But really well done.
But Mac
Yeah,
Forbes
it's
is
really well
great.
done.
Yeah.
Like, I'm telling you, sometimes I smell this, I'm like, yeah, but no, this one, like, it's so pretty, the rest, like, this shit could be Rango. Great. Thanks,
Cool.
buddy.
Awesome. Well, I had to bring you a Riesling, so
Oh,
I wanted to
More
share
than
with you a
thankful.
little something that you might not have seen before.
I actually have never had it before, too.
Cool. Yeah. And then you mentioned Felton Road. so-
It smelled like this guy.
yeah. Not many people have tasted this in the States.
Really?
Like, I mean, I feel like it's known and well respected, but I feel like not many actually get to experience it. So this is their Calvert. Awesome, like glacial
Yeah, it's fucking
deposit
great.
soil here. They just do such a great job in the
They do.
vineyard, and they don't really do
Smell like
much
Felton
in
Road.
the winery. You know, they have like 3 people on their winemaking team during harvest, which is incredible.
This is fantastic. I'm gonna put this against some Premier Cruise. I have to. It's fucking great.
Yeah, they do. Do a good job. So, 2 Southern Hemisphere wines
course.
for you. That'd be fun.
They're getting great at it, dude. Cheers.
Cheers. You crushed it, bro. Well done.